Hello, Americans, patriots. Thank you for joining me. I am James Detroit. When I say thank you for joining me, I really, really mean it. Our time is very valuable. It's very precious. The effectiveness, the efficiency in which we utilize our time is extremely important. So, the idea that you would spend that time with me, it means a lot. It really does. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you willing to tune in and listen to my worldview and some of these thoughts. And let's get right into it. In Michigan, we have a person who was born in Poland, wanted what America provides with an unlimited opportunity. There's no ceiling in America on what you can, the liberties you can experience, except for the limits that we as citizens allow to be placed upon us. And over the last 35 years, when this woman left Poland and came to America, became a citizen, started her own business, she has seen the erosion of those liberties. She owns a restaurant. She believed, rightfully, that the government, specifically the executive orders of the governor of Michigan, was unconstitutional, which, by the way, the first executive orders were found to be unconstitutional. She originally shut her restaurant down and then realized, wait a minute. Again, correctly realized, wait a minute, this is about control. This is not about science. This is not about a health issue, a medical issue. So she opened her restaurant back up. She was found to be in violation of these executive orders. And so she said, no, she wasn't going to change. If you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. But she wasn't making people wear a mask. Again, let's think about the idea that when I walk into the front door of the restaurant, that I need to put a face covering on, a chin diaper, until I get to my seat. It might be 5 feet away. It might be 25 feet away. But once I get there, I can take it off so I can eat and drink and talk. It doesn't matter. It really and truly, and thanks Dave for giving me this example many months ago, it really and truly is like having in a swimming pool a designated pee area. You're going to urinate over there in that corner, but that's going to be okay because we're going to swim around and that urine's going to get everywhere. Think about it, folks. But you look at me, those of you who are critical and saying, James, you just don't care. I do care. I care more about what this is doing to us because it's just dividing us. It's the believers in masks. It's the believers in the government as our higher power. And it is the fact that we've allowed a fellow citizen who broke no law, no constitutional law has she broke. And she's sitting in jail. Her business is not being operated. I read not too long ago those quotes from Nazi Germany. And it went something like, first they came for the communists and I wasn't communist, I didn't stand up. Then they came for the Jews and I wasn't Jewish and I didn't stand up. And then they came for me and there was no one there to stand up for me. And I know it was a bad summation, but this is a very challenging time for all of us. Now, I do not wear a mask unless I'm asked to wear a mask. And if it's a corporation that's asking me to wear a mask, I am not patronizing that corporation. The Meijer Corporation, for a couple of reasons. The Meijer by me requested that I wear a mask. So I drive 3 times farther, which is not a lot. I mean, we're talking 3-4 miles, but to the Kroger because they have not asked me to wear a mask. And also, Peter Meijer, I believe it's Fred Meyer's grandson, voted for every piece of legislation I do not agree with. And I'm not going to continue to fund the family fortune for him. And let's think about what this really is talking about here, this whole COVID thing. And oh, James, you're a conspiracy theorist. We are getting more and more information now that this COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, is a made-up pandemic. Because now we're getting more and more. The vaccine is 95% effective, and yet we're getting more and more people. And now the medical profession is admitting that, well, just because you get the vaccine doesn't mean you're not going to get the virus. Well, then why are you people getting the vaccine? And I've got friends and family who are proud to say they got the vaccine. I hope they're okay. Let's break this down for a second. This is purely speculation on my part. I'm reading and I'm thinking, but here's a couple of things I can't get my head around. Number one, it takes years to develop a vaccine. And then they say, well, this is emergency use vaccination allowance. Oh, so you're saying that the mRNA vaccine that you've been wanting to create and distribute for decades, you just created it in less than a year, and now you're mass distributing it. Maybe it was already there. Oh, it most certainly was already there in the works. Just like for the last 20 plus years, maybe longer, the United States government, in one way or another, our tax dollars have been funding these research labs in other countries because we're not going to do the research here. Somebody might find out what we're researching. And then, as we know for a fact, that on the East and West Coast in 2019, in October and November, that this virus that is in all numbers 99% non-deadly, in a specific most vulnerable group 95% non-deadly, it was on the East and West Coast. How do we know that? Because the blood samples that were taken and stored in December, the end of November and early December, and then ongoing in those coastal cities by the Red Cross had the antibodies in the blood samples. That means that a 6 to 8 week period prior to that, people had already had the virus, developed the antibodies in their B and T cells, and it was there in the blood. The proof was in the blood. But it wasn't a pandemic yet. But all these experts across the globe was saying this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And 5 million people between 2.5 and 5 million people are going to die in the United States if we don't do something right now. All of that didn't happen. By the CDC's own numbers, the 500,000 people that have died in the United States from COVID didn't die from COVID. 6% is because of the virus. That's the CDC's numbers. That puts us at 30,000. And in a flu season, a typical flu season, we have between 35 and 60,000 deaths in a flu season, whether it's a mild flu or it's a variant strain of flu. How many times have we heard, especially since the flu shots have become so popular, that, oh yeah, we missed the flu this year. The big pharma missed the diagnosis. What viruses are continually mutating. The greatest virus fighter is the human immune system that was created by God. But big pharma wants to try to be God. And I think that's the end game in this mRNA vaccine. And I think it's just the start of a lot of things to come. What else do we have? How about the UFOs that the American government is finally admitting to? It used to be that you were a quack, a conspiracy theorist. There's no alien technology. There's nothing around here like that. And now they're more willingly talking about it and all of the stuff. I mean, it's we could be making Transformers a reality show. It's only science fiction today. Yesterday, Transformers was a sci-fi thriller. Now the movie series is about to be reality. Possibility. They're talking about something. They know something. And then the election. We see more and more evidence coming out that the states were denied their control of the election process, which is unconstitutional. And let's not get too deep into those weeds, but let me just restate this. Linda Lee Tarver said everything that needed to be said when she testified in front of the Michigan legislation. And it is, again, according to the science, according to the numbers, if you do research, it is impossible that the state of Michigan continued to gain an advantage in the Michigan legislation and in local elections more conservative than in the past. But as a state, we split that ticket. We voted for all of the conservatives on the down ticket, but we didn't vote for John James and we didn't vote for Donald Trump. We voted for Biden and we voted for Peters. Impossible. The truth is in those tubs and containers of pristine ballots and whatever else is going on with those machines. I'm going to leave that for a second. Now, money. It seems to continue to be about the money. All of these things. And I've given you quotes before from the Bill Bonner articles that I read back in early 2000s. They sat down with a former CIA, the head of the CIA, and said, what's going on here? And he said, yeah, I'll talk with you guys. But remember this. I'll talk with you every month, but remember this. Everything that is nefarious, everything that's diabolical, everything that the global elite, that the United States government, they're not doing it secretly. They're telling you. It's right in plain sight. All of this stuff is right in plain sight. I remember that from that article because it is in plain sight. They tell us, but they use phrases that we think no other human being, because most of us are good and decent people. No other human being would think this way, would do these things. And yet there's a group out there that is doing it. Just exactly that. To quote Schwab at the Davos, the global elite, we are going to own nothing by 2030, and we're going to be happy about it. One of the fundamental principles that keeps America still, and as long as I have a heartbeat and you have a heartbeat, we still have this dream. The dream of a country that you can have individual private ownership, that you can own property, that you can have possessions, your private possessions. I have ownership of something, this house, this car. I own it. It's mine. I have the title to it. We can have the ability without restrictions, as limited as that might still be, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and individual private ownership. We are at a crossroads, and we need to stand and fight. And it needs to take place on the local level, on the state level, and we need to make it right so that on the national level, and you can say, oh, but James, we need to come together. We're too divided now. Capitulation has never provided a quality outcome for those of us who are fighting for the right reasons. And I say all this and you say, well, James, you say that God is in control. I know that he is. I know that he is. If I'm wrong, I've lost nothing. I've lost absolutely nothing. If you're wrong, you've lost everything if you don't believe God is in control. The very breath that I breathe to state these truths was given to me by our Creator. You know, now there's actual medical white paper on science is suggesting that maybe people suffering from schizophrenia is actually demonically possessed. Oh, now science is coming around to the truth. Bible has never been proven wrong, ever. And here's another example of how we are proving it to be truthful. I am seeking the truth. I am trying to connect the dots. I'm sharing with you, hopefully, to motivate you to do the same thing, to join me. There is, on so many different levels of human existence in this country right now, there are revolutions taking place that we are going to say enough is enough, and we are going to seek the truth. We are going to take the right path, because that is what internally we really believe that we need to do. Thank you for spending time with me. I am James Detroit, and for now, I'm out.